Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I am good. How are you?
I'm goodly as well. You look goodly over there.
Thank you.
I don't know what that means. Hey, today we're going to be talking with Bill Scheimann. He is a really smart dude talking about being fulfilled. So, do you feel like you're pretty fulfilled in life, Heidi? Like you're adamant with what you got going on?
Not
right now?
No.
Bad time to ask?
Yeah, probably.
Hey, we're going to be talking to him about that, and we'll get some more details coming up here in a bit. Take a listen to this. Did you know that 7 people died by drowning in 300,000 gallons of spilled beer in London in 1814? You got to go somehow. Drowning in beer, I don't know if that's really a good way to go or not. I wonder how much they drank before they finally drowned, though. 1814. It was the London beer flood of 1814.
So it flooded the town?
Well, not the whole town, but it flooded a section of town. And there were people. Yeah, a lot of people died. 7 people. And take a listen to this. Good news for dieters. You now have a reason to quit dieting. The UCLA and UC Irvine study found that starving yourself does not help you live longer. So there. I'll eat to that. Coming up, we got some special stuff on this Thursday. We'll tell you about that in a bit. Today is a special day, Heidi. You know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Thursday. It is November the 3rd. Today is Cliche Day. Ooh, I like cliches. Some cliches are very funny.
I know you do.
Today is National Men Make Dinner Day, and you're not allowed to do barbecue or anything that you call an order. So what would you like me to make you? What would you like me to burn you for dinner tonight?
Yeah.
It's also Public Television Day today. It is Sandwich Day today, and it is SOS Day today.
Well, then apparently you should be making sandwiches.
I could make a sandwich, and then I could also utilize the smoke from my burned sandwiches to send out an SOS signal. I know that's the only thing I really know in Morse code is SOS. Do you know Morse code SOS? Do you know how to do that? It's ...
dash ...
No, it's ... dash ... That's a good thing to know. Not that, a lot of people know that nowadays.
Yeah, nobody would know what that meant even if you did it.
I'll text it to you. Shouldn't you just text help? All right. Thanks for listening.
It'd be faster to type SOS.
Probably. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Legally, we gotta have insurance. That's why getting the very best rate is paramount. I'm Jared Parsons. I founded the first national and virtual insurance agency. Until now, you were limited to the agents in your area. But what if the rates are better somewhere else? At Parsons, we shop around and we get you the best rate. It's that simple. Go to radioinsuranceguy.com. That's radioinsuranceguy.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Most people say how much they hate their in-laws and can't stand to be around them. But in Italy, they've decided to have a mother-in-law contest to reward the good ones. Oh. I've got a good mother-in-law.
So do I.
It's great to make jokes about your mother-in-law, right? I'm sure some people have mother-in-laws that are probably not all that good. But they actually celebrate their mother-in-laws there in Italy. It's not just interesting, it's also a contest. Those Italians have gone and ruined it for the rest of us because, they're all goody two-shoes, and nice to their mother-in-laws and all that. Anyway, there's a 56-year-old woman who's been awarded the title of Miss Mother-in-Law International.
Oh.
Lucia Brugnan won the contest for her singing performance of O Sole Mio.
Really?
It was described as, quote, stunning. Some 50 mothers-in-law showed off their skills ranging from singing to sock mending to cat walking.
Sock mending.
And cat walking?
I'm sure that was a riveting display of talent.
Hey, everybody be quiet. She's mending that sock. What's that lady doing? Well, she's trying to walk a cat. She's just getting scratched a lot. Anyway, this happened in Italy. Again, I wonder if they did the cat walking first and then the sock mending after because of all the scratches. Probably. I'm just guessing. Anyway, good mother-in-laws do those kind of things. Apparently, I have no clue. They were judged by the Lifeguard Association of Rimini,
What?
They organized the contest. I don't know. You can't make this stuff up. Second prize was won by Maria Charsanarchi. She's 87, by the way, for the longest running activity taking care of her son's family.
Oh,
So there you go.
That's nice.
What do you win for being the world's best mother-in-law international?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It doesn't say that in the story. I'd like to see that cat walking, though. And that sock mending. I've got some... You know what? I don't think I've ever had socks
I'd like to
mended.
see the swimsuit competition.
No, I don't think you want to see that. I've never had socks mended because if I get a hole in my socks, I get different socks.
Just throw them away.
Yeah. I don't have any holes in my socks right now, but I used to have a lot of socks with holes in them.
You know what would be a more valuable skill in this house?
What's that?
Underwear mending.
Yeah, I kind of have a lot of those. I have a lot of holes. Good. Some of those holes are getting so big, my legs go through them. And, whoop, put it in the wrong. It's about time to get rid of these. All right. Thanks. That's a little too much information. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. When is it not a bad idea to sell illegal drugs? Well, never. And there's never a dumber place to do it than in the presence of a police officer. How many times have we read stories like these?
All the time.
Here's a tip to aspiring drug dealers everywhere.
Just don't do it at all.
Yeah, that's the best tip. But don't ever sell marijuana at your high school when the police are on campus to give drug awareness presentations. Detective Daryl Thurnberg was giving such a talk to students at Muncie, Indiana High School when he got a call. Seems there was at least one student on campus who was already well aware of drugs. He quickly excused himself and busted a 16-year-old student for selling drugs on campus.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, you don't do that. It's just a bad idea. Period.
Man.
Just a bad idea. Don't do that. Coming up, we're going to talk about some bizarre names, and also we've got your scoop of the day, and we've got a guest on the way as well. Today we're going to be visiting with Bill Scheimann, and we're going to be talking about what did I say we're going to be talking about? Feeling fulfilled. That's what it is. I should take notes. That's what it is.
You did it. You asked me if I... Yeah. Okay.
I should take notes around
now.
here.
I should pay attention to you when you talk.
should. Kids, this is what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. 3 men have been arrested in Toronto after a truck full of gumballs was hijacked just before Halloween. Now, it doesn't sound like a good idea to hijack a truckload of gumballs, period, does it?
No.
It doesn't sound like a good plan. But the true moment of duh might actually go not to this generation, but to the generation before them, their parents. Take a listen to their names. They were Emmanuel, which is not such a bad name, but then Uthanathan and I don't know, Thurgnasamabananathur. I don't know how to even say these names.
Wow.
Just some. I think they just randomly started punching the keyboard and said that's going to be your name and and that's going to be your name. So this happened in Toronto. That's Canada. That's not a common name in Canada, is it?
Well, I don't know. I've never
I
been
don't think
to
it's
Canada.
a common name anywhere. Euthanathan, and then Thurgnasanathur.
I'm pretty sure you nailed that.
Pretty sure. I'm a linguist on the weekends. Coming up, and during the week, I can barely read. Coming up, we've got your scoop of the day. That's on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. A recent study suggests, ready for this? Missed or wrong diagnoses at the office of the doctor puts thousands of patients at risk of complications every year. That's right. If your doctor thinks that, say, a burst appendix is just a tummy ache, you could be in trouble. And I guess this happens thousands of times. But here's the thing you got to understand. There's no way they're going to be right every time.
Well, no.
They just can't. So, I call a little BS on that story because at the end of the day, nobody's perfect.
No, absolutely
But
not.
they're just saying that there's thousands of misdiagnosed things that
Well,
happen.
of course there are, but look at how many millions of people there are.
There you go. See?
So,
Bing, bing, bing. You're absolutely right on that. Hey, it's called the Sunday Night Blues. It's called, it's how you feel on Sunday. How about going back to work on Monday?
Yeah.
We have the Sunday Night Blues and the Monday Night Blues and Tuesday Night Blues. No, we don't really. I got a frog in my throat here all of a sudden. Does that sound better? It says, some of you may simply dread that weekly transition from leisure to work. And some, it actually is a very serious thing of hopelessness and anxiousness about returning to the office. The Sunday night blues are fairly common, with 76% of American workers say they suffer from it. This is from Monster. They did a little survey on this. They're the job people. They say if you are having the blues and sobbing your eyes out, maybe it's time to
Yeah, if you're
find something
sobbing,
different.
you might want to find a different job.
Yeah, the author of Tame Your Terrible Office Tyrant, How to Manage a Childish Boss Behavior and Thrive in Your Job, said that maybe it's time for you to let them just do something different.
Yeah,
You go find
you're gonna
something
wanna
else.
Find something else.
Because the
If it's
anxiety
that
is
bad.
hurting you. It says, listen to your gut. If it's telling you on Sunday evening that you shouldn't be there on Monday, then maybe you should start thinking of something different. Moving right along before we lose all of our people that work with us. If you're lonely, stop wasting so dang much time online. If you really want to meet somebody, get a dog. Turns out that dogs, although they're awful on Facebook, I mean, have you ever seen a dog that, paws things properly on Facebook? Just doesn't happen. But it does turn out that 1 in 4 dog owners have met dates while walking their dogs. A third have at least made a few new friends. Now, it says we trust other dog people and we trust dog meters. So there's like dogs that can tell.
Yeah.
They
Well,
got a
yeah,
little
if
people
your
meter.
dog doesn't like somebody, it's best
Yeah.
to just steer clear.
40% of dog owners say they would think twice if their pet and their
Yep.
dates didn't get along. So there you go. Hey, a survey finds that a quarter of all people who take a briefcase or something similar to work with them have got something in it for self-defense. So if you're taking a briefcase, it says, again, a quarter of all people have something in there for self-defense. Maybe it's just a sharp piece of paper. I'm going to paper cut you. I don't know what it is. It says that I think is a very interesting concept. It's a big number, quarter of them, 25%. What do you think? What would you put in there
Well,
for self-defense?
a handgun,
Well, there you go. I guess that's one thing, but that's not what I had in mind.
mace, a billy club.
A collapsible baseball bat. I read a thing. It was actually funny. It was an attorney friend of mine that posted a photo of a baseball bat in the back of a vehicle, and it said, just a friendly reminder from your attorney friend, if you have a baseball bat in your trunk, even if it's for self-defense, throw a mitt and a ball in there too. Then I can help get you off. I was like, oh, wow, that's a good idea. So it has nothing to do with this, but we'll move on now. It says the time of day that you shower may come down to personal habits and scheduling, but there's some science behind whether there are benefits and drawbacks to whether you soap up before you go to work or before you go to bed. Morning showers can have a meditative effect on people by allowing them to relax and reboot. However, evening showers have their advantages, especially for people who have a hard time unwinding from their day or getting to sleep. Heidi likes to have her shower in the evening.
I do.
I like to have my shower in the morning.
You know why I don't in the morning? Because I like to lay in bed as long as possible in the
I've
morning.
noticed this.
And then when I do that, I don't really have time to shower.
I was thinking of getting... I saw there's
But
a...
also, I do have a very hard time falling asleep, so it does help me to be able to sleep at night.
I don't have that problem. I
know
fall
you
asleep
don't.
sometimes before I even get in the bedroom. So.
Yeah, I know.
Fall asleep watching TV, and she's like, well, I'm just going to bed. I'm like, huh?
I
I'll wake up, and it's like 3 a.m.
I wake you up, and then I just walk away. I'm like, whatever. He's not getting up.
For those of you who don't know this, we are married to each other. I wanted to let you know that. I have a link. Otherwise, this is just weird. I've got a link to this story, by the way, at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Election day is almost here. No matter which side you're rooting for, you now have a place to get informed and to truly voice your opinion at PoliticalStorm.com. An amazing resource with information from people on both sides of the aisle, all in one place. Watch videos, read blogs, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials. You can also contribute with your own blog for free. Be a part of the community at PoliticalStorm.com. You have a choice, and now you have a voice too at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us right now. Bill Scheimann is going to be chatting with us about being fulfilled and people feeling fulfilled. It says here, less than 20% of people feel fulfilled. That's no good. Bill, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, and I'm reading here that you've spent your career as doing research and management and helping people with an employee engagement and fulfillment. So this is kind of right up your alley, isn't it?
It sure is. Been looking at engagement for years with employees, and now my recent research has been looking at how that relates to their entire lives.
And I can tell you the places that I've worked, there are jobs that I've had in my life where I made more money, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do. And there are jobs where I made less money, but I felt fulfilled and really loved what I did. And those are my favorites. The ones, even though I didn't make as much money, but man, I loved what I was doing. And I think people deserve to be happy. You know, they should want to strive to be happy.
Yeah, and everybody that we interviewed in the research said, you know, I want fulfillment. I'm searching for it, but there were many things that got in the way of it.
Now, it says less than 20% of the people that were surveyed feel fulfilled. Why is that? What's wrong? Why don't they feel more fulfilled?
I think the three biggest barriers, and we see these not only at work, but also in other aspects of our life. One is alignment. Do I really have a vision, and am I on the path to it? Or am I just on a detour? So alignment, if you think about it in a company, where I want to go, is this aligned with where the company wants me to go? And then the second one is capabilities. Do I have the right skills and abilities and experiences? And I hate to go out and have failure experiences when I'm not equipped. And then the third is passion and engagement. Do I really like what I'm doing? And interestingly enough, in the workplace, a lot of people like what they're doing, but they don't like the environment around it, the boss, the rules, the policies, or the communications of the company.
Well, and I've had that as well. I remember one place that I worked where there was a silly little form that you had to turn in for almost anything that you were going to do. Did you fill out the form? And I was like, that is the dumbest thing. Why can't we just talk to each other? But there had to be a form for everything. And I didn't stay there very long because that's just not who I am. I was like, I can't do this. I can't handle this. Now, you've got a book coming out. It actually just came out, Fulfilled. Tell me a little bit about this book. What went into putting this together, and how long did you work on this?
Yeah, the book Fulfilled: Critical Choices, Work, Home, and Life has been 7 years in the works. I remember writing up some stories actually about Michael Phelps in the last Olympics as someone who, exhibited passion and, had a drive. He talked about it right after the Olympics last time about how he's had this goal in his life, and it's just been out there in front of him, and he measures what he does, and, most of the people at work who had really high passion about their job or their life also really have a clear goal. They measure themselves regularly without being crazy. I mean, I think that they have a sense of, let me check in with myself, every quarter or once a year to see if I'm on track with what I'm doing. And when people test themselves out and ask themselves even questions about fulfillment, they know when they're there or when they're not.
Again, our guest today, Bill Scheimann, and he's the author of a book called Fulfilled. It's available right now. Where can we find a copy of this book, sir?
Certainly can find it on Amazon.
Thank you for doing this, first of all, because I know there are a lot of people, like we said in the report, less than 20% of the people felt fulfilled. That means like 80% of the people don't feel fulfilled. So there's definitely some room for you to help folks. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to do it. And we actually have a Facebook page we put up on Fulfilled recently that would be helpful because we're putting on information for people, a lot of articles and things that are being put up, and it's at fulfilled.criticalchoices.
All right. Very cool. Yeah, I'll check that out.
Well, thank you as well for your interest in it.
Again, Bill Scheimann, and I'm going to spell that. So if you're searching online trying to find it, if you just look for Fulfilled, I bet that'll help. But last name Scheimann. So there you go. And if you struggle, just reach out to me, and I'll gladly point you in the right direction. The book is called Fulfilled, and our guest today has been Bill Scheimann. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Are you ready for Duel? Kyle Dowling on guitar, Brett Gunderson on bass, Sam DeVito on drums, and frontman Bill Scheimann.
Gotta keep rocking, gotta keep sucking, bringing it down like rain.
Duel's new single just hit iTunes and it's selling fast. Get your copy now.
When you're lacking chains and you feel no pain. Supernova gonna get you too.
Their first single, Supernova, is available now for less than $1. Learn more and find a direct link to buy Supernova at facebook.com/dualrocks.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In 1900, the average age at death in the U.S. was what? How old were you when you died in 1900?
1949.
Ooh, close. 47.
Ah.
Wow. You're good. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A car that shifts manually gets 2 miles more per gallon of gas than a car with an automatic shifter. Did you know that?
I knew they got better
On
gas
average.
mileage. I didn't know how much better.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Lord's Prayer appears twice in the Bible. Once in Matthew 6 and once in Luke in chapter 11. So there you go.
Really?
So you know it's right because it's in there twice.
There you go.
Even if it was only in there once, it would be right. And it's a good prayer. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Some china is called bone china.
I knew that
You know why, though?
because it's made from bone.
Because some powdered animal bone is mixed in with the clay. And it gives it extra strength and extra whiteness and even some translucency.
Maybe that's what I should have done with my ashes after I'm
No.
cremated. Have myself mixed into some fine china that we can divvy up amongst the children.
That would give a whole new sense of meaning to the word grandma's china.
I wonder if you could do that.
I hope not. Otherwise, I know you'll want to do it. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.
John and Heidi.
Legally, we gotta have insurance. That's why getting the very best rate is paramount. I'm Jared Parsons. I founded the first national and virtual insurance agency. Until now, you were limited to the agents in your area. But what if the rates are better somewhere else? At Parsons, we shop around and we get you the best rate. It's that simple. Go to radioinsuranceguy.com. That's radioinsuranceguy.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. A little bit ago, we were talking about the average age at death, whatever it was, in 1900.
Yeah.
I've got some other things here. Some differences a century makes. So first of all, our lifespan was 47 years back in the day.
Sure.
I mean, that would scare me because I'm pretty close to 47 and getting closer every day. So that's not good.
We'll probably still die pretty close to that age.
So living like, I like to party like it's 1899. So again, in 1900, 14% of the homes in the U.S. had a bathtub. Only 14% had a bathtub. Only
You know what?
What's
though,
that?
I mean, I'm sure they didn't have showers either, but
No.
how often do we use a bathtub
Yeah, I know.
in our house?
But-
Not very.
But we use a shower. They didn't have that either.
Well, I understand that.
They had a
but
pond out back. 8% of the homes had a telephone. I think we're getting about back to that.
Yeah, probably.
unless you count cell phones. There were only 8,000 cars in the United States and only 144 paved roads in the whole country.
Wow.
Also in 1900, the average U.S. worker made about $200 up to, if you're really doing well, $400 a year.
Whoa.
Yeah. Also in 1900, more than 95% of all births took place at home. 90% of all physicians in the United States had no college education. Instead, they attended medical schools, many of which were condemned in the press as being substandard. Sugar cost 4 cents a pound. Eggs were 14 cents a dozen. Coffee, 15 cents a pound. Also, in 1900, the 5 leading causes of death in the United States were pneumonia, influenza, tuberculosis, I didn't say that right the first time, TB, we'll just call it that, diarrhea, yeah, that was on the list,
Whoa.
heart disease, and stroke. So diarrhea was the 3rd leading cause of death.
Diarrhea.
Yeah, that's not good. Also, plutonium, insulin, and antibiotics have not been discovered yet. And to make matters worse, Scotch tape and crossword puzzles, and canned beer and iced tea hadn't even been invented yet. But this is kind of interesting. I can't even talk today. Marijuana, heroin, and morphine were all available over the counter at the drugstore. According to one pharmacist, they said heroin clears the complexion, gives buoyancy to the mind, regulates the stomach and the bowels, and is in fact the perfect guardian of health. Boy, have times changed.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was in 1900, by the way. So I don't think anyone agrees with any of that today. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner or the person in charge of advertising, I have a special offer just for you. We're doing a jingle special this month. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? How would you like to be the name in your industry and have people singing your song? We've worked with hundreds of small businesses to create their own musical image, and we want to help you too. Reach out right now and we'll give you $500 off. Squeeze it into this year's budget and get results for years to come. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com. People always say it's good to laugh at yourself from time to time, but how often should you laugh at yourself? Research now says we should probably do it more often than we think. This study comes from the University of Maryland. They claim that most laughter comes from men enjoying their own jokes. Sounds about right.
You know what, though? I do that, too.
Scientists found people laugh at their own gags up to 50% more than they laugh at other people's jokes. The team also discovered the majority of those giggling over their own jokes were men hoping to impress women. What does that sound like around here? How many times have I had John jokes that you just look at me and roll your eyes? And here's the funny thing. Now, you got to understand the dynamics at play here. This is my wife. We work together. It's 50-50. It's not like the John and Heidi show run by John and I point at Heidi and make her laugh. First of all, if I pointed at her to make her laugh, she would probably just...
I'd point back, but just using a different finger.
So that ain't going to fly here. So when I tell a joke that I think is funny and she thinks it's not funny, instead of a laugh, it's usually a... lame. And that makes my job a lot more difficult than most radio folk, because usually they have you push the button and everybody laughs. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about living at the mall. That's on the way. Times have changed a little bit, but I remember when I was a kid, there were people who I think could very easily live at the mall. Were you one of those kids?
I still could. I love shopping.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I drop you off and then I like sit in the car and listen to the radio. I'm good with that. But if you've ever dreamed of living at the mall, well, that could be a reality at the Arcade Providence. Yeah. It says here, once there were retail stores, now it's a 48-unit micro-loft apartment complex built on the privately accessed second and third floors of the nation's oldest indoor shopping mall in Providence, Rhode Island.
I couldn't live in a micro anything.
Says here, right below them is a bustling retail area with food, restaurants, and clothing boutiques. And then on the second floor and third floor, you can live
cool.
there.
It would be cool, but they would almost have to knock out walls and put 2 or 3 together and make
Are you saying
apartments.
That like a hotel? You're telling me that like the size of a shop wouldn't be big enough for an apartment?
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I think so.
It's a micro loft. That means tiny.
48 of them. So who knows? If you'd like to know more, I've got a link to this on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Election day is almost here. No matter which side you're rooting for, you now have a place to get informed and to truly voice your opinion at PoliticalStorm.com. An amazing resource with information from people on both sides of the aisle, all in one place. Watch videos, read blogs, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials. You can also contribute with your own blog for free. Be a part of the community at PoliticalStorm.com. You have a choice, and now you have a voice, too, at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com. This story, I almost didn't even want to share this because I got a feeling we're going to probably laugh, and we shouldn't because it's sad, but it's humorous, but it shouldn't be.
Okay.
I'm warning everyone who is easily offended, just bear with me here. A couple of tourists were stopped at a service station in Valdez, Alaska, when they decided to let their little pet puppy, he's a Chihuahua, out to, do his thing. No sooner did this doggy start doing his thing, and then he was snatched up by a bald eagle.
Oh!
Before anyone could react, the pup was up and away. Gas station attendant said the dog's female owner seemed, quote, very upset.
Well, of course.
But it goes on to say, while her husband appeared to just be rooting for the eagle. That's the part. This is the firsthand witness to it. Again, now this is why I warned you ahead of time. I'm not laughing at the fact that this dog was snatched by an eagle. That's sad. We have 2 little dogs.
We do have 2 little dogs.
I don't want
and
either
they
of them.
very easily get picked up by an eagle.
But if they got picked up by an eagle and took off,
Neither one of us would be cheering for the. We would both be freaking out. But clearly,
so what in the heck was going on in this family?
This is one of those situations like we were talking about earlier, where if your significant other and your pet do not get along, it's probably
true.
not a good idea.
I just can't even imagine. It says, again, I'll read the line that made me think, do I even share this story? Because I knew we would laugh like we did, and I didn't even mean to. I tried to stop myself from laughing, but you made me do it. So.
That's really sad.
I'll read it again. The gas station attendant says the dog's female owner seemed very upset, while her husband appeared to be rooting for the eagle.
That's hilarious.
I just can't even imagine what was going through his head. It should say the ex-husband is what it should say, because that's probably what happened there. Saying, there went my dog and my wife all in one weekend. All right, coming up, we do have some good news. We'll wrap things up with that in just a bit, right here on The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news. And I appreciate the folks who send me good news to share. And if you've got some, I'll tell you how to get that to us here in just a little bit. But first, let's get to the good news. When Jessica Hoffert's son, Lucas, lost his favorite stuffed animal, he calls him Bear, his mom worried how the 2-year-old boy who has autism might cope with the loss. According to Today, Bear is Lucas's safety toy. Bear plays a huge role in the boy's routine and keeps Lucas calm when he panics. So Hoffert launched a citywide search for the lost toy, and only 3 days later, Lucas and Bear were reunited.
Aww.
Thanks to the kindness of a stranger, Sandra Morales was walking to the grocery store with her son Daniel when she spotted the toy. When she saw Hoffert on the news, she immediately returned the bear to Lucas. And I've got the entire story on our Facebook page, so you can see the whole thing and watch the whole thing, and you can even see a picture and all that fun stuff.
That's so
Makes it just come to life at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Have you ever had a toy that meant so much to you and then you lost it and it was just gone forever?
I'm sure I did. I wouldn't remember.
We had a toy that didn't necessarily get lost, but we were dumb and did some dumb stuff, and it was probably locked up at the police department for a while. I have no idea. You know my family. My brothers and sisters and I, we were kind of the rough kids in the neighborhood. We had a little toy from Sesame Street, and I don't remember if it was, I think it was Oscar. I don't remember if it was Grover, Oscar, whatever it was. For whatever reason, we thought this would be funny. We tied a rope on it, and we laid the thing in the street, and then when cars would drive by, they'd run it over, and we'd pull it in. I have no idea what the heck we were thinking. So all of a sudden, this car stops and shines a light right at us.
It's a cop.
It was a police officer. He picked up the stuffed animal. The rope dropped, and he drove away. There went our fun. So we lost a teddy bear, but it probably was our own fault. Did anybody else do dumb stuff when they were kids? You're looking at me like you've never heard of anything this dumb before.
I'm trying to figure out what the point of that was.
There was no point.
I mean, it's not like...
No, we just, because it kept getting run over, and then we'd reel it in, and it was a little flatter every time.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't know. We were kids.
Why didn't you just wait for it to get run over and go out and pick it up?
You should have been there. We had the rope, so... I have no idea. All right. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
You are right. I have to rethink my entire childhood now. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.